Hi, this is Danna Bowman. I'm the co-founder of Thyroid Refresh, your online lifestyle support platform for thyroid health.
And I'm co-founder Ginny Mahar. So we'd love it if you come by and visit us at thyroid-refresh.com. We're here today with Adrienne Klein. She is our resident nutritionist. She's a holistic nutritionist and thyroid coach. And we're so excited to be here with her today. We just kind of wanted to introduce everyone to her and let you get to know her because she's so incredible, you guys. She's got to be one of the most warm, giving, helpful people, and just has this wonderful nurturing quality. And that's what, inspired Danna and I to invite her to be on our team because, we really just, what we've been trying to create is a place where people feel embraced and supported. And you're so good that way, Adrienne. So we're just so happy you're here with us and on this big adventure. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and qualifications and things?
Oh, wow. Well, first I wanted to say thank you for such an amazing introduction. That is so awesome. Thank you, guys. And I'm very excited to be here with you. So I am a thyroid patient myself. I was diagnosed at an early age of what I think is early. It's 20 years old. And I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And my doctor told me just to take this pill every single day and I would be fine. That I would be on the medication for, the rest of my life. And no worries, it was easily managed. I said, great. And I did that for, 14 years with no hiccups. Went in every single year to get your blood test done and continue your medication. And then when I was 34, I started to get really sick. And I got a lot of symptoms that I didn't realize were related to my thyroid disease. I had anxiety. I had about 1 to 2 panic attacks every single day. I had sharp shooting chest pain. I thought I was having a heart attack. Turns out it's acid reflux. I had air hunger, which if anyone's had air hunger, it's horrible. And air hunger with the anxiety is, I don't even know how anybody ever leaves their house.
What is that, Adrienne? What is air hunger?
Air hunger is when it feels like you can't get a complete breath. Like you're only filling up like the top part of your lungs. Like, how you can like, and
I just tried and I couldn't.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. That was crazy.
Yeah. It's the power of suggestion. It was horrible. And I went to multiple doctors and including my endocrinologist who'd been treating my hypothyroidism and which had then been confirmed as Hashimoto's. I had the antibodies that showed that I had the autoimmune form of thyroid disease. But no one helped me. Basically the doctor, not my endocrinologist, my regular MD put me on Nexium, which is the purple pill for acid reflux. And you're really only supposed to be on it for 2 weeks. And I was on it for 3 months with only about an 80%, feeling better on it. So it was about after 8 months of feeling like this that I had a moment of, hey, what if this is all related to my thyroid and just nobody knows it? So I taught myself how to research credible sources online to figure out exactly what was wrong with me. And the root of all of my symptoms came from the fact that while my blood test results for testing my thyroid were normal, I was not normal, that my thyroid was not working properly enough. So that was my light bulb moment to find a doctor who would actually listen to my symptoms and figure out if they could help me with my thyroid further than my endocrinologist. So when I had visited him and said, hey, I think that maybe my thyroid's not working well, he said, well, all of your ranges are, normal, but, basically you just need to eat less and work out more and you'll be fine.
So common.
It is.
It's so frustrating.
Heard that. Yes.
Yes, we have all heard that.
It's incredibly common, but there's, as a patient experience, it's actually very shameful. You feel really bad about yourself, and you figure that, oh, this is all my doing. I'm doing this wrong somehow. But
I'm not doing enough.
Not doing enough, doing it wrong.
My fault. We always place faults on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But then I began the journey of finding a doctor that could help me and listen to me, run the tests that my research had shown that I need to be running, and getting on a medication that was more helpful to me than the one that I was currently on. Every doctor that I went to during this process, before I found the actual, doctor that was going to help me, I asked them, I said, what can I be doing with my diet differently to feel better? And every one of them said, nothing. Diet has absolutely nothing to do with your thyroid. And I now know that to be false, because I went back to school and decided to figure out how to eat in a way that would nourish my thyroid and make the quality of my life that much better.
And so that's what catapulted you into becoming a holistic nutritionist.
It is. I realized that as a patient myself, I could advocate to make myself feel better. And one of the things that I have control over is food, food and lifestyle. And I went back to school, and I knew that by changing my diet, I felt so much better that that's exactly what I wanted to try and do for other people, is to try and help them feel better through actions that they can control themselves.
Doable actions. Will you tell us a little bit about your credentials and your nutrition certificate, so we can learn a little bit more about where you went to school and that kind of thing?
I would love to. I love my school. When I decided to go back to school, I knew that I wanted to be part of the NANP, which is the National Association of Nutritional Professionals. So I wanted to choose a school that they accredited. And I narrowed it down to two. One was really heavy in all of the science, which really appealed to me because I consider myself a nutrition nerd at this point. The other school, the one that I eventually ended up choosing, was heavy in the science, but also in psychology and spirituality, which was crazy to me, right? Like, how do you connect all of those? But when you're studying nutrition holistically, you have to. It's not just about the food. So the Institute of Transformational Nutrition is the school that I went with. The alumni, we call it ITN. And I got my certification. It's a certified transformational nutrition coach. I graduated last August, and then I immediately went into their master's program, which I'm currently doing. The master's program is certifications in areas that's more in depth. So I've already completed 3. And when you complete all 8, then you get your master certification. The ones that I've completed is the autoimmune disease, digestive health, and also weight loss. So, yeah.
So you have kind of an amazing personal journey with this, where through your diet and lifestyle changes and things, you were actually able to put your Hashimoto's into remission, right?
I was, which is pretty amazing. I never set out to do that. It wasn't the end goal. The end goal was to feel better. But what happened is that the doctor that I did end up with was a naturopathic doctor. And the first thing I had mentioned earlier, how I would ask every doctor, what can I do to eat differently or better so that I can feel better? Well, this doctor, I didn't even get a chance to ask that, because one of the first things he asked me was, are you gluten-free? And I said, well, I think so. I've been eating the paleo diet for about 4 years at that point. So I was for sure grain-free, which is what I said to him. And he said, you need to be more strict with it and really read every single label of everything to make sure that you're not getting gluten, because gluten is hidden in a lot of things. So I became very diligent, and I was surprised with how many foods that I came across that had gluten in it. And I just became—
And supplements.
Yes, exactly. Supplements and makeup too is another thing. Also like shampoo, toothpaste, but we won't go there. So I was just a lot more diligent with it. After a year of being gluten-free, my thyroid antibodies went from the low 700s down to the low 200s. And then and also in that time too, I had changed medication. So I was on a different medication, and I was feeling really good. And an additional year after being gluten-free, so 2 years total, I was in remission. So anything under 30 is considered remission. Remission's not healed, it's not cured. It just means that it's not active right now. And it makes me feel, good, like your health is good at that point. And then I've done even further changes to my diet based on some testing. And my antibodies are down to 11 at this point. So feeling pretty good with it.
That's incredible.
We want to have you back to talk about the exact things that you did for sure, because you just said further tweaking your nutrition helps. So we definitely want to learn about that. But what would you say for our listeners right now are 3 things they could do, actionable tips they can do right now to feel better regarding their nutrition?
Well, for the first thing that I would recommend is to find a physician, find a doctor that is going to give you exactly what you need as a thyroid patient. That is, if you ask for certain testing, they should say, you got it, we're going to do it. If you say, I want to try this different thyroid medication based on patient experience, some people have a better, experience with it. They say, let's do it. They, listen to you. They understand how you're feeling and where you're coming from. So that's one of the first things that you can do is to find a doctor that is your advocate as well as be your own advocate. And I think one of the best friends that you have is that little booklet that you get from your insurance company that has a list of the doctors that they are going to cover for you. And you go to their website and you learn as much as you can from them based on their website. And if it aligns with what you want as a patient, then you can make that appointment. And if that first appointment goes well, then great. If not, then you just go back to that book and you keep looking. But I think that's the thing, is that it's a lot of work as a patient to find a good doctor, but it is so worth it. And then when you do a doctor, you never want to leave them.
That's right. And I think there's no way around, the time and effort it takes to find those people. There's, like you said, you have a starting point, like the resources from your insurance company saying who's covered in your area or under your policy. And then you start asking around, you look at websites, we have all been through this and it takes time, but I totally agree. It's tremendously important to find that person that's going to help guide you and be your root cause detective and things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that, root cause detective. I like that a lot. The other thing I would say really nutrition-wise have to do with your gut. The gut is so important to keep that healed when you have a thyroid disease. Even if you just have if you have that autoimmune form or the not autoimmune form, that gut health is so important. So when you have a leaky gut, you're not going to absorb medication very well, but you're also not going to absorb your macronutrients or your micronutrients, which are so essential to thyroid health, zinc and selenium, just to name a few. So to keep your gut healthy is, imperative to your gut health. One of the things that you can do to keep your gut healthy is to, leave out all of the gluten in your diet. Gluten has been shown to be one of the main contributors to leaky gut. It just is. And Harvard even did a study that showed that everyone had gut permeability at some level on the spectrum with gluten, whether you have celiac, gluten sensitivity, or nothing.
Wow.
Permeability, which I think speaks a lot, and that was Harvard Medical that did that study. So I think it's really important that gluten be removed from the diet to maintain gut health. And the other thing that's a little bit unpopular is alcohol. So alcohol has the ability to release endotoxins in your gut, and those endotoxins, permeate the gut, the lining of the gut. So, taking some alcohol out of your diet for at least 30 days, and you will notice a difference in how you feel, mostly because you're absorbing your medication better and you're absorbing those micronutrients that are needed for your thyroid health, for the conversion of those thyroid hormones so that your cells can receive those thyroid hormones. So that's really where I think it all begins, is in the gut.
Really quick, that's really important. How people say, I'm raising my medication, I'm not. Sometimes it could just very well be healing your gut because you're not absorbing your medication. That's a very, very good point.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened to me.
That's a big challenge for a lot of people, that we've surveyed is trying to improve and nurture their gut health. So I think those are really helpful tips. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for sharing your story with us and for being here today. We're so excited to share more of you with our readers and listeners as we continue on. So if you haven't already, come by thyroid-refresh.com. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love you too, gals, so much.